Live from WTVO 17 and your home team, Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
Getting away for the holiday weekend looks different during a pandemic. Travelers say they feel safer behind the wheel than in the air. Winnebago County health leaders urge everyone not to let their guard down for this COVID-19 weekend. Their counterparts in Wisconsin, though, have a much more direct message for people. A popular Rockford nonprofit puts out a message on social media, the way you can help the helpers. Good evening, I'm Brittany Tulis. Eric and Mimi are off tonight. We begin tonight with an update to breaking news we first told you about yesterday. About $7,000 has already come in for the family of a 2-year-old girl killed in a Rockford car accident. This is Kennedy. So far, more than 80 people have donated. The GoFundMe says money raised will go towards burial costs. Kennedy died after a truck crashed into her yesterday afternoon on Guilford Road near Mulford. The driver stayed on the scene. No word on what led up to the crash. We reached out to the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office. They tell us it'll be a couple of weeks before their investigation is complete. If you'd like to donate, we've posted the link to the fundraiser on our website, mystateline.com. A fire forces a Rockford family out of their home. This happened at an apartment complex on Normandy Avenue, just south of Northtown Mall, around 1 this afternoon. You can see the brick charred black around the second floor unit. 2 ambulances were called in as a precaution due to the heat. No one was hurt. No word on how the fire started. A man is fighting for his life after a drive-by shooting in Rockford. This happened just before 10 last night on Fillmore Street near Central Avenue and Auburn Street. Police say the victim was with several people when a gunman inside a white pickup truck opened fire. A home and parked car were also hit. Police recovered a gun at the scene. Anyone with information on the shooting is urged to call police or Crime Stoppers. 4th of July weekend is one of the most traveled times of the year, but due to the pandemic, many people are skipping airports and hitting the road. Dylan Saraki caught up with a few families that are driving to their destinations.
Travelers tell me they're excited to see their family and friends this Independence Day, even if it means putting up with heavy holiday traffic.
This is the 3rd day of a road trip that will last about 10 days.
Kathy Bosley and her husband are traveling from Colorado all the way to Michigan for the 4th of July. They stopped at the Belvedere Oasis to stretch their legs and eat lunch.
We brought our food and we'll eat inside at one of the tables. It seems pretty okay. It seems pretty clean in there and it's cool.
Bosley says the highways have gotten more crowded with the 4th of July inching closer.
We're now starting to see the traffic, I think, coming west out of Chicago.
Other travelers tell me they were pleasantly surprised by the lack of traffic.
Surprisingly clear right now. Maybe it's because it's Friday, I don't know, the day before and not the day of, but so far so good. I haven't ran into any traffic, but we haven't got to Chicago yet either, but so far so good.
Lamarck Shackerford and his family started in Madison, Wisconsin, and are headed to Merrillville, Indiana for an Independence Day barbecue.
Luckily, we took 2 vehicles, so they're riding with their brother in the minivan, and then we got the little ones in the car. So we separated, so it's been real peaceful because they complain in that car.
There's some good news for people taking to the highways. According to GasBuddy.com, Rockford gas prices are down nearly 60 cents a gallon from this time last year, saving road trippers a little bit of cash.
At first, when the quarantine, first it was really cheap, like ridiculously cheap, but now it's decent, like I say, for a road trip. It's not beating up your pockets, as they say.
Travelers say, even with COVID-19 putting a bit of a damper on traditional 4th of July celebrations, they're excited to spend the day with family and friends.
It's one of those weird things, you got to have the mask and the hand sanitizer and be careful how you hugging people, but you're around your family, but you still want to keep those guidelines, to be safe.
Illinois State Police say they will be stepping up patrols this weekend. They want to remind people to have a designated driver if they choose to drink. Reporting from the Belvedere Oasis for your home team, I'm Dylan Saraki.
Whether you're traveling or staying home, Winnebago County health leaders urge everyone to maintain social distancing, wear a mask, and wash your hands. There are currently more than 3,000 reported cases in the county. Wisconsin health leaders have a more direct message for people this weekend: stay home. This after a reported 20% increase in COVID cases over the last 2 weeks. Wisconsin Public Health blames young people going to bars. There are about 30,000 confirmed cases since the pandemic. Scientists are working hard to develop a vaccine for coronavirus. One effort underway is dubbed Operation Warp Speed. Raquel Martin reports the hope is to get a vaccine out to the public in, quote, world record time. Eyewitness News is keeping you connected to the nation's capital.
We are all in.
Thursday, scientists overseeing development of coronavirus vaccines assured lawmakers help is on the way.
We are all optimistic that the goal that we have set to have a vaccine that works and is safe by the end of 2020 will be met.
Dr. Francis Collins, director of the National Institutes of Health, says Operation Warp Speed is testing and manufacturing promising vaccines.
All being conducted side by side.
But Missouri Republican Senator Roy Blunt raised concerns about speed versus safety.
Do you have any concerns that on the vaccine side that FDA is not going through every safety step?
No compromise at all on the safety and the efficacy standards.
Illinois Democratic Senator Dick Durbin pointed to a defective 1955 polio vaccine that sickened tens of thousands of children with the disease and killed 10.
Can you reflect on that for a moment?
That was a terrible tragedy. I think I could reassure you and the American people that that strategy of trying to administer a killed vaccine is not currently being pursued.
Dr. Collins says thanks to billions in federal dollars, his team is making great progress. But Washington Democratic Senator Patty Murray worries drug companies might get greedy at the expense of the public.
I'm very concerned that pharmaceutical companies have dictated the terms.
The goal is to ensure the vaccine access for all Americans.
CDC Director Dr. Robert Redfield says he's cautiously optimistic the vaccine will be ready by April of next year. In Washington, Raquel Martin.
A Rockford nonprofit needs your help. Miss Carlys on 5th Avenue is looking for volunteers. Right now, shifts would be from noon to 4. Volunteers will help pack lunches, hand them out, and even just talk with anyone who comes in. We've posted a link to Miss Carlys' online registration on our website, mystateline.com. And if you're looking for fireworks this weekend, there are 2 shows happening in the area. The first one kicks off tonight at dusk in Davis Junction. It'll be held at the Community Park on Lincoln Avenue, and it's free to watch. Or you can check out the show at Rivets Stadium in Loves Park. Gates open at 7. The fireworks start at 9:30. Tickets for watching inside the stadium is $12 a person, or set up in the parking lot for $25. Social distancing rules will be enforced. And if you can't make either of those, we've got your back. Tune in tomorrow at 8 p.m. for our annual Celebration of Freedom. Hear stories from veterans and even learn a thing or two about history. We'll then re-air last year's fireworks show starting at 9:30. Again, that's tomorrow right here on WTVO Channel 17. Blood donations tend to drop around the holiday, which is why the Rock River Valley Blood Center is trying to get ahead of the curve. It held a blood drive all week. This one was held at the Belvedere Clinic. The Blood Center tells us the pandemic has really put a dent in donations.
People are still scared of the unknown because it's a fairly new thing, that we're going through. But even though we sanitize after every donor, we take precautions really serious here.
All donations to the Rock River Valley Blood Center stays in the area. It serves northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. Get ready to rock tonight at the Rockford City Market. Live music is back. That will happen under the pavilion at the indoor market. New vendors are showing up too, including Pig Minds and Synergy Collective. The market is open until 8 tonight.
Now, your first warm weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
It has been another dry but hot Friday afternoon as temperatures today made it back into the upper 80s and low 90s. We've had plenty of sunshine, although a couple of those clouds kind of building up for us today. A live look with our Mercedez SkyTrack camera up in Beloit, looking off to the north and northeast. You can actually see some of those distant thunderstorms that are just to the west here of Milwaukee in Wisconsin, really kind of firing up over the past hour or two, actually along a lake breeze coming in off of Lake Michigan. You see the thunderstorms there. These are slowly sinking to the south. However, as we get further into the evening, a lot of that activity will begin to kind of decrease. So I think the more favored area for any thunderstorms will most likely be across south central Wisconsin. We might get an isolated shower or two over the next hour or two, but that is pretty much going to be it. Temperature wise, it is a hot one still this evening, sitting at 88 degrees in Rockford, Rochelle, 86 right now in Freeport, 87 in Monroe. and still the heat index this afternoon in the low 90s. But that dew point temperature makes a big difference in how it feels. Yes, it is hot and still a little muggy out there, but with our dew point numbers in the low to mid 60s, that heat index is not excessively high. In fact, the dew point numbers will stay in the low to mid 60s through the weekend, so that means our heat index for tomorrow as well as for Sunday will actually stay in the low to mid 90s, and even going into Monday afternoon too. So I don't want to use comfortable because it's going to be hot. So for some of us, it's not going to be comfortable, but we'll notice the humidity start to increase as we pull in more moisture by the time we get into next week. So this will push that heat index into the upper 90s Tuesday, Wednesday, and we could even top that 100-degree mark by the time we get towards the middle to end of next week. Now, the one caveat to that would be thunderstorms. We might increase that chance for some thunderstorms later in the week, so that could actually bring a little bit of relief. So we've got a little bit more heat and humidity coming up by the time we get in towards next week. Let's talk about the 4th of July because it is tomorrow, and we've had quite the extremes in temperatures. Remember our 102-degree record high, July 4th, 2012. I remember that day very well. It was hot. It was sticky. The heat index was up to like 110. Our coldest 4th of July, 46 degrees. That was set all the way back. I got to look here. I can't see very well. 1967. And the rainiest 4th of July, just shy of 1.5 inches of rain. And while we have had a steady increase in our temperatures, it's been a slight increase for the month of July. But even that slight increase in your temperature provides us with some mighty extremes. So that's something that we have to look at when we talk about a warming climate. Now, we are actually in the mid part of meteorological summer, and overall our summer temperatures, when we look at June, July, and August, have actually been going up as well. In fact, since the 1970s, we've seen a general increase of about 1.2 degrees here in Rockford. Our temperatures are going to be increasing over the weekend. We're dry tonight, dry for most of our Saturday. In fact, a lot of us are going to stay dry. We might get an isolated shower or two to the northwest of us during the afternoon. Again, with the peak heating of the day, same thing for Sunday, but look at that coverage. It is very, very scattered and isolated straight through the weekend. Temperatures tonight back down to 67 degrees. Tomorrow we are right back into the low 90s. Take precautions if you are going to be outside. 92 for tomorrow afternoon. Not overly humid, but a little on the muggier side. Here's kind of an hour-by-hour look at our temperatures as we head through the afternoon tomorrow. We will warm quickly in the 80s as we go throughout the day tomorrow. And in fact, temperatures will stay in the 80s, Brittany, even peaking possibly in the mid-90s. That's where we stay as we go into next week.
Now, the Napleton Sports Desk with Sports Director Scott Lever.
The return of high school sports in Illinois keeps trending in the right direction. The IHSA has given schools the green light to go ahead with its next round of reopening. The biggest difference is starting Sunday, teams can meet in groups of up to 50 for workouts outdoors and indoors. That number includes coaches and staff as well as players. Now that's huge for football teams especially. Teams with more than 50 can meet, but they have to be spaced out. Each school must continue to keep daily records of athletes who participate. Athletes need to have their temperatures taken before practice. Signs educating athletes about the symptoms of COVID-19 need to be posted. Facilities will need to be sanitized and equipment wiped down. Major League Baseball has released the results of its first test to players who are now reporting to camps. This week there have been 38 people total who have tested positive for COVID-19. 31 of those are players, the rest are staff members. More than 3,100 people were tested, so the positive rate is 1.2%. 19 Major League teams have had at least one person test positive. Teams aren't allowed to give out the names of those who do test positive, but Cubs manager David Ross told reporters today that everyone is healthy as far as he knows. The Cubs held the workout at Wrigley Field. Here's Ross laying out this morning how things would go.
We're going to start with the non-throwing pitchers. Will come in the early part of the day before noon, get their throwing in, get their workouts in, use the weight room, and get the catchers in. Will be second to catch some of the pins, and then they'll get their batting practice in. And get ready for when the position players get here. The position players will arrive a little bit later.
At Guaranteed Rate Field, the White Sox put half their team through a workout this morning, the other half this afternoon. Not there, pitcher Michael Kopech. He's been excused for a personal matter. Rick Hahn says he's pleased with what he's seen from the guys so far.
Very pleased with where the guys reported in terms of their physical readiness. Obviously, at this point, we're still limited to doing some drills and some live BP and very limited baseball activities for the first few days as we start ramping things up. So it's going to, over the course of the next 3 weeks, we're going to learn more about exactly where guys are, you know, how effective, what they've been able to do somewhat in isolation over the last few weeks.
It is going to be a hot one heading into this 4th of July weekend. Temperatures tonight down about 67 degrees. Tomorrow we are back into the low 90s. Heat index as high as about 94, 95 degrees. Low 90s for our weekend. We'll start to increase the humidity and even our rain chances as we head towards the end of this week.
It's a lot of 90 degree days in a row. Thanks, Candace, and thanks for joining us tonight.